So today I'm back in the barbershop. I thought I'd record it here because one, the lighting's better, and two, it's a barbershop, so it's pretty apt. I'm back with an upgrade. I've now got a mic, guys. So no longer am I the peasant with the AirPods in. I now have the proper mic. So hopefully that's a little bit better for you guys. Hopefully now you can hear through my thick Brummie accent a little bit better.
Pull up to me, bro. Yeah. Pull up to me, pull up to me, pull up to me, bro. Pull up to me, bro. Yeah. Pull up to me, pull up to me, pull up to me, bro. Take a break. Give yourself. Them genuine, up on this house, shoulder back and pull over. And me and the drive up the limousine. When you see the firm body there, with the new shape, and me I run the gas pedal there. Send me, sing the clutch and start fling there like a 10 forward in the hay. People are sporty, but me like it. I must see Lamborghini design it. So when you park it, make sure you recline the seat. Comfortable like in a bed. Pull up to me bumper, pull up to me bumper. Come in a
Look, Benjamin has got one of the fucking sickest heads of hair I've ever seen in my life. His hair just naturally has a sick ringlet. Like, you've never seen hair really that ringlets so well. Even when he hasn't styled it, it's incredibly well curled. It's kind of got no frizz to it. Whereas like someone like me, I try and curl my hair and it turns into a frizzy bush. Ben's hair just isn't like that. Ben's hair is really Benjamin hair. It's beautiful curl.
We're always running around this town.
The aim of the haircut is to essentially de-George Bush it. We want to get rid of the bush, collapse the shape, and frankly just create a cut that's a little bit tidier while maintaining that beautiful ringlet that Benjamin's got. First thing I do with any client, and especially Benjamin and this kind of mid-length, longer length hair, is I assess the curl. I'm looking at the curl and I'm thinking, how short is too short? If I take it too short, I'm going to lose the curl. There's going to be no curl left to his hair. If it's too long, then it's gonna stretch the curl out. We want to kind of find that perfect middle ground of maintaining the curl, but it not stretching out too much. I'm also assessing Benjamin's head shape. Benjamin's got quite a triangular head shape, so it benefits from having a little bit of girth on the sides, a little bit of girthiness, if you will. So we don't want to take the sides too short to the point where his head looks like the top of a Q-tip. We want his head to maintain some width. When I wet his hair down, one, the hair becomes more elastic. Two, I can see his full head shape because the hair is then stuck to the shape of his head. You can see that the zone that I've created on the top starts from the corner of the eyebrows, the round of the head, and is almost a teardrop shape into the crown. And the zones that I'm creating through the back, like a complete donkey, I forgot to turn the head around and show you me creating the zones. I'm creating a zone at the back that encompasses the contour, and that's just the bit that connects the side into the back. And I'm creating a zone that encompasses the contour and the occipital bone. It's a very round zone, and the whole point in that is I want the sides to be quite fluid and round. I took a section from the center down to the occipital bone, subdivided it, if you will, into two zones.
We're always running around this town.
All I'm doing now is in the middle of the contour, I'm just separating Benjamin's hair off from the front or the sides to the back. Now the aim in the back zone is to create a graduation. Now what is a graduation? I don't want to come with all these stupid technical terms. Basically all I'm trying to do is build up weight. So if I'm looking at it from a vertical axis, it's going to be shorter externally and longer internally. So now if I pull the hair down, it's going to gradually increase in length, meaning that it's going to go shorter to longer. And what's also worth noting is I'm following it around the head shape. So consider that I'm looking at it from 2 points of views, the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. Now vertically, we know that we want a shape that's shorter externally and longer internally. Triangular, if you will, shorter from the outside, longer on the inside. Now, if you're looking at it from a horizontal axis, we just want to follow the natural round of the head shape. Why am I cutting the hair inside the fingers and not on the outside of the fingers? Now, it's usually a lot easier to build up weight or create a graduation, or however you want to put it, by cutting on the inside of the fingers. Just think what my body position would be like if I was trying to do this, cutting on the outside of my fingers. Usually I want to be cutting right in front of me. So cutting on the inside of my fingers just makes it easier, basically easier for me to control the hair and easier for me to control the shape in the back zone.
Put that Ruger all up to you, watch your mind go splat. All over the wall, nigga, all over that raw. It's the same old me, still the same old G. Got that crack music, listen, let your brain OD. I be playing no P, being one of my niggas. Riding through the city, plotting on some of the niggas that be thinking they gon' get me. I'ma run to you niggas, and that's a couple dead bodies for a couple of niggas. Yeah.
So it's important on the left side that I'm matching the same elevation and creating the same shape. I've noticed that most barbers create the craziest haircuts but struggle to create the simplest haircuts well. Now, I would argue the simplest haircuts are the hardest ones to create. So this haircut here, although it's really technically it's pretty simple, it's geometric, there's no asymmetries, and we're just creating a round shape. It's quite difficult to be consistent with it. So I'm always checking my length on the other side and making sure that I'm keeping the same elevation and creating the same shape on both sides.
All titanium, big boy sound, jump around when I'm playing. Me, I play my role, getting old like I'm Chamberlain. Same old you kiss, the same one that give me cranium. Every time I touch a gun, all I hear is Damien. Try to fight me up to rock a nigga like
Another thing you might notice is I'm always roughing the hair up, especially with curly hair. I'm always roughing the hair up to see exactly how it's falling. I want to see how it's kind of changing, how it's falling, how it's reacting to the length that I'm creating. You can see there I'm kind of combing it out and just seeing how the choice of length is reacting. Are we keeping the curl? Does it need to go a little bit shorter? Should I have left it a little bit longer? Next time maybe I should leave it a little bit longer. These are the kind of things that are going through my head while I'm doing this.
It was the things I done, it was the things so fun. It was the things I done, it was the things so fun.
Now I spent so long on this haircut, I had to pass my next cut over to Babis. Thankfully, Babis is a lifesaver because my next haircut is also a very long haircut. But Babis said, I'll sort it out for you, bro. Don't worry about it. So my next client jumped in with Babis. What a lifesaver.
It was the things you do. It was the things I do. Came off from rising.
Now I'm just going through and I'm just cross-checking, making sure that it's even. Yeah, I'm just checking my balance, pulling a section out from each side and just making sure they're roughly the same length. And we're nice, we're good. Again, just checking it, seeing how it feels, what kind of texture is the hair, what kind of texture is that length left. So now I'm moving from the back into the sides, and you can see I'm taking a small section from the back and I'm moving that over into the sides. That's just so I have a guide for the sides. Otherwise, I haven't got any guide for the sides. You can see I'm pulling the hair out from the base. Now, remember, we want to create a round shape here. I don't want any corners in the head shape. So you can see I'm pulling the hair right out from the base. We've changed now from using horizontal sections and we're now using more vertical sections through the sides. That's because I'm flattening the shape out a little bit. And I'm always keeping my work clean when I'm cutting curly hair. It's super easy to get lost in hair like Benjamin's. So it's really important to plan it out and stick to the plan. If something goes wrong, readjust it and then get back on track. Man's enjoying that espresso still. Here at Blunt Barber, we offer you a nice coffee as well. It's not just a fire haircut. So now I'm doing exactly the same thing, but as I get to the front of Benjamin's head, I'm starting to implement a little bit of over direction. Basically, all I'm doing is I want to keep a bit more length at the front, just a little bit more length at the front, so I'm bringing the hair back to the previous a little bit. And I'm cutting on top of the fingers here, mainly so you guys can see what I'm doing. But if I was doing this without the camera, I'd just carry on working on the inside of the palm. So again, I'm just turning Ben around and I'm turning him right into the mirror because I want to look at the shape that I've created. Is that shape suiting his head shape? I want to see the shape and see whether it's suiting his head shape. A lot of barbers go wrong here. They kind of cut and then they don't reference the mirror. It's important to use the mirror. The mirror is your friend at the end of the day. As barbers, we're looking in the mirror all the time. So it's important to check the shape in the mirror. A lot of people say that when you cut curly hair, you should cut it dry. I think that it's more nuanced than that. That's too ambiguous of a statement. It depends on how curly the hair, it depends on multiple variables. In this case, I know how Ben's hair reacts to the length I'm taking it. I've cut his hair many times before. If I hadn't cut his hair, maybe I would cut it dry, but there's trade-offs to that. It's a lot more difficult to control dry curly hair. I'm not going to be able to create sections and control the shape as easily with dry hair. Now I could use clipper over comb, I could use different techniques, but in any case, I know how Benjamin's hair reacts to the choice of length I'm taking it. So every time I cut the length, I'm considering what it's going to look like dry. I'm considering how it's going to expand when it's dry and how it's going to look. Now I'm just repeating the exact same process on the other side of Benjamin's head. Now remember, the simplest things are the most difficult to do. In this case, what's going to be the most difficult is creating exactly the same shape on this side as we did on the other side. It's going to be super easy to f this up. You've got to have like a mental picture in your head of the length that you took it to on the other side. You have to use his head shape as reference. I used to work with a guy, he was sick at cutting hair. He used to work for a company called Tony & Guy, which is quite a big hairdressers here in England. He used to use his comb almost as a ruler. So he'd have little teeth broken off on his comb. He wouldn't break them, but he'd kind of bend the teeth. He'd kind of put the comb at the root and then using the comb, measure the length and bend one of the teeth, just so he had an exact point of reference for both sides. So that just meant that he could cut the one side, and then when he got onto the other side, he could use that little bent tooth as a point of reference. So now we're trying to frame Benjamin's face, and remember this is quite a round, fluid cut. So I'm using 0 elevation, and I'm using the natural arc of Ben's eyebrow to determine the shape that I'm creating. Even if I'm creating a C cup on a skin fade, it's much better to use the natural features that I'm given, that I've been blessed by God, and enhancing those features. Not just trying to create something really sharp, we're trying to enhance his natural features. In this case, we're using his eye socket and his eyebrow as a guide. So again, like a donkey, I forgot to turn Benjamin's head. Essentially, all we're doing is taking the zone at the back, and now we're connecting that zone into the sides and the back. Now I want to maintain that round shape, so that I'm moving around Benjamin's head. I'm cutting one area, then I'm moving to the next area. So I'll cut the side, then I'll walk around to the contour, then I'll walk around to the back, and then I'll reset and come back to the front. Otherwise, I might start implementing corners. So me moving around the head ensures that I'm going to be consistently creating a round horizontal shape. And you see, I'm just turning it around, messing it up and seeing how it reacts to that length. And I'm really happy, the shape's beautiful. So I'm bringing the elevation down to the guide that I've already set on the sides and the back.
Well, I'm outbound, a new place to try my sorrows and everything else. For my mental health, we're down the train as well.
You can can see I'm continuing with those curved sections and I'm walking around his head. I'm moving his head down, 1 to protect my back and 2 to ensure that I keep a consistent elevation.
I may be fucked away, the only one. True girl unto the sun. Piercing in and out lies, living free. This tiny eye cannot see. Simple things lies in the sea. Live with me. You still urge this. You still urge this.
Now I'm just checking both sides. I'm roughing the hair up, I'm kind of letting it expand, and I'm making sure that both sides are consistent. Again, the most difficult thing is to create consistency throughout the haircut. So I'm just checking that they're both consistent on each side. So now look, the haircut's nearly over. The internal part of the haircut, and when I say internal, I mean what's going on the inside of the haircut. It's almost over. We've only got one more zone to do, which is the zone on the top. I'm creating a section all the way from the back, all the way to the front. Now I could use the back as a guideline, because remember, we've already cut the back. But in this case, I'm going to use the front as a guideline, because I want the fringe to sit at a very particular length. I want it to just kind of sit above the eyebrows. Just with my hand, I'm not using any tension on the hair. That is going to create a guide for the internal shape on the top. The external shape on the front is going to create my guide for the internal shape on the top. And basically, just keeping that simple. I'm just cutting it to the length that I like on the front, and I'm going to use that length that I like as a guide for the top. Filming these videos is very new to me. I'm going to get better as we go on. But you can see that I've stood right in front of the camera like a right pleb. Following the round of his head. And when I'm cutting curly hair, I'm not one of these barbers that has a million different tools. I only use one pair of scissors, and the scissors that I use are a pair of Joel's. They're made out of cobalt steel, which means they retain an edge for quite a long time. I think these are about a 5.25 inch. So they're quite small, which just means I have a lot of control over the scissor. They're sharp and they're well balanced. A lot of barbers out there, instead of investing in their technique, they invest in stupid tools. The fact is, you can do almost every haircut with one clipper, one scissor and one edger, maybe 2 combs. You don't need a suitcase full of clippers to be a good barber. You need a suitcase full of knowledge. When I'm cutting curly hair, I'm using the very point of the scissor, because that means I can get right in and I can have great control over cutting hair. It's just like that. Sound effects come free of charge. Tiny movement. I'm opening my thumb a tiny little bit. If I do too big of a cut, it's not going to be precise enough. And I'm cutting up to the second knuckle. If I cut past the second knuckle, there's a risk that I might cut my finger. And if you look at my finger, there's some scars on it from when I was an apprentice. These days I can cut past my knuckle because, you know, I'm a master barber, as they say. Just because you have got a risk of cutting that flap of skin on the knuckle there. And it also gives you more control because this is a flat surface. And if you've got big fat fingers like me, it's even more difficult. But if you've got nice thin fingers, then it's a lot easier. You can have a lot more control. So now from front to back on the top, we're creating a round shape. Horizontally, or let's say from ear to ear, it's more of a square shape. Yeah, so we're leaving a little bit more length around the corners of his head. That's just to compensate for the round of his head. I'm going to put up a little head sheet kind of showing you the shape that I've created, just so you can visually see exactly what I've created. You know, us barbers, and me especially, I'm very good at looking at something and copying it. I'm very good at learning. I think they used to call it kinetically. Basically, in my class, I was really at listening to teachers, but I was very good at doing things with my hands practically. But to understand something, it's also good to understand what's gone into creating it, how I've created it, so that then if there's something I don't like about it, I can change it the next time. I can work out where I went wrong and then change it the next time. If you don't like it, you can look at it and go, well, I'm going to change it here. I'm going to get rid of this corner. Maybe it should be less round and we should have some corners on the side as well. But in any case, that's for you to decide. And look at Benjamin now. He's a stunning guy, and now curls really do get the girls. Now we're on to the styling process of the hair. Now I'm using some of our blunt pomade. I want to create these beautiful ringlets, and I find that if I put a pomade in, like a water-based pomade, when it's wet, if I dry it correctly or create these kind of ringlets, it kind of glues the hair into a ringlet. Now, because I'm doing a video and I'm taking some pictures after, I'm going a little bit ham on the styling. At home, he would just let this dry in naturally. He'd put the pomade through his hair and then just let his hair naturally dry. It's pointless putting any tension or a brush or anything on the hair because that's gonna get rid of the curl. I'm taking sections through the top, I'm just twisting them and letting them release. And all this is going to do is it's going to give me a curl that has less frizz. And then I'm going to go back through with a diffuser and simulate the natural drying process, but doing it a little bit faster. I've got it on the first setting and the highest heat, and I'm just slowly drying it off. You can see that I've only ringleted the top, mainly because I'd already spent like 2 hours on this haircut, and I thought I'm probably taking the a little bit here. So now once it's dry, I'm going back through with a wide tooth comb, and I'm just kind of breaking the curls up a little bit and just kind of putting the hair in the position that I want. Now, like I say, Benjamin in the morning, he'll just put a little bit of pomade in. When it's damp, he'll kind of jump out the shower, towel dry it a little bit, scrunch it with a towel, put a little bit of pomade through, maybe comb the pomade through, and then just go about his day. I'm not a big fan of haircuts that require loads of styling, although I'm doing a lot of styling here, it's for a video. The best haircuts are the haircuts that are the easiest to style. In that way, it works with their natural hair and with their lifestyle. So now I'm just coming through to the back and I'm just cleaning up any neck hair, any of the hair that really is just messy. So I'm kind of lifting all the hair up, I'm combing all the hair up, and then I'm putting a nice sharp lining down the neck. But bro, this is the most satisfying thing ever to do. Oof, that little comb there. Yes, please. Just cleaning it up, making sure that I don't go too deep.
Follow me down, down. I'm coming again. Follow me down.
now I'm just having a little discussion with Ben about the sideburns. And he says, look, what pisses me off are these sideburns as well. Is there anything we can do about the sideburns?
So I struggle with sideburns because they're the thing that like sort of grows out my hair the quickest. Okay. So they get bushy, and I know in the past you told me not to shave it because I butchered them myself. Okay. But yeah, that's the bit that I mainly struggle with.
I said what I think would look cool, and because we're doing a video, is maybe we throw a little bit of a disconnection in there. So we disconnect it, and then we use a little bit of clipper work to taper the sideburns out, so then it gives it a little bit of sharpness as well. He was like, yeah, I love the sound of that. He was loving it. He was loving the sound of that, so let's do it.
I'm coming again.
So you can see I'm just sectioning off, just from the corner of the ear to the corner of the temple. I'm going in with a little bit of scissor over comb, just to get rid of the length.
I'm coming again. Watch them get to move. Rough left, rough, smooth and smooth. Watch them move, get to move. Rough left, rough, smooth and smooth. Follow me now.
Just cleaning up around the ear there, just a little bit. I don't want to go too into the haircut. That's why I've sectioned it off with a clip.
Get to move.
So now I'm going in with a clipper. I just want to create a little bit of sharpness there, a little bit of contrast between the bushiness and the messiness of the top and the sides. And look, George approves. George is a sick barber, but unfortunately now he's a bit of a bum. So I've just put a 1 on the clipper and I'm just flicking out. I'm being cautious that I don't go too high because it's going to throw the whole haircut out of whack. Now I'm going in with my wool wireless detailer and I'm just cleaning the outline up a little bit on the area that I've clippered. Again, I'm using his natural features as a guide.
Smooth and smooth. Follow me now.
Now, looking at this, if I was to go back and do it again, I'd probably not go as high. I'd leave a little bit more length, just because I think, looking at it now, I think I went a little bit too high. You can see I went in there with a 0, mainly because I wanted to create a bit more of a blurry feel, but I think that was a bad idea. I think I got a little bit too clipper happy, and I should have left it. I should have left it where it was. But he liked it, so we're nice, but I think from a personal standpoint, next time, I'll definitely keep that a little bit lower.
Big fan of that.
You like that?
Yeah, a lot.
Pop it. But did it improve the haircut? You tell me. Tell me in the comments below. Should I have put that taper in the sides or should I have left it? Should I have done the taper a little bit lower? Should I have left it a little bit longer? Tell me in the comments below. So now I'm just finishing the haircut. I'm just breaking up the curls and I'm going in with a bit of that blunt texture spray. This is a great product. It's essentially a hairspray that has very little sheen to it. So if you want to provide holes, but you don't want it to look super shiny, this is a great product. And boom.
Every day except on a summer day, hot with a hot moves, don't put your gun away. If you do, I suggest you better run. Stick with the crowd, car, you the one. If he keeps talking, I'm gonna break this you. If he gets a game, I'm gonna play this you. He chats too much, I can't take this you. Yo, Trilla, beg you come spray this you. He's a waste, I don't rate this you. So out of his face, I'm gonna take this you. Bring him away and duct tape this you. I see him in a rave and flake this you, this you. Gonna have to smash this you. Won't do no drive-by, we'll fly by. Jump out and blast this you. Trust me, it's box if I catch this you. Send my you till it that you, but do it at the right time. When that you's got people that you, so when my you licks out that you, man, think it's that you. It's that one coming at you. I'll show you what the gats do. Like moves when I run through bursting wax.
And Benjamin, thank you so much for allowing me to do this haircut on you, allowing me to record this video, because look, it took at least 2 hours and I probably took the your back must have been hurting like a mother after this. But bro, you look shit hot, man. I think the haircut really suits your style. It suits everything that you've got on, the kind of knitwear and just generally the style that you've got. It really fits your head shape. And I think putting that taper in, although I think I could have done it a little bit lower, I think it really made the haircut pop. And guys, I want to bring you different content. I want to bring you different haircuts because YouTube's full of fades. And frankly, I'm kind of bored of seeing fades on everyone. Nowadays, barbers want to create the most flashy haircut to show off on Instagram and beat their balls off. The fact is, the best haircut is the haircut that suits the person you're doing it on. What is the point otherwise? What really is the point? If there's anything you don't like about this haircut, or there's any way you would have done it differently, throw me a comment down there below and I'll definitely reply to it because I'm that kind of guy. I've got a lot of time on my hands. I also want to mention that, look, there's no right or wrong way to do this. As long as you understand what you're doing and consider how you can do it better every time, you're going to incrementally improve. Don't be afraid. Don't be a pussy. Try new things. Discuss things with your clients. Let's try this time. Let's try this the next time. Look, I know I've took a while to get a video out there, but I'm just trying to improve my process a little bit. I've bought a new mic. Drop me a subscribe. I need them subscribes. By the end of the year, I want to get to 20,000 subscribers. I think that's super doable. You know, the last video did really well. All you guys, you seem to care about it. So look, drop me a subscribe, share the video, hit me with a like, drop me with a comment, whatever. Let's get it out there. Respect Donis and Donettes. Thanks for tuning in.
Going to aim to the temple. Disbanded on a wire. Stranded.